There's a difference between giving up and surrendering. Surrendering is one of the hardest things that we can do. Waving that little white flag to surrender our problems to Jesus Christ, it's not easy. But in the end, it is the most important thing that we need to do to get to the next step. Welcome to Finding Hope in a Suffering Society. I'm Rob.
I'm Josh.
And we're here to help you find the beauty
in the darkness.
And if you found that light,
please go show your glow to the rest of the world.
So let's talk about that topic of giving up versus surrendering. And let me ask you this. And again, we talked about giving up from the standpoint of just like, I just can't do it anymore. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to live. But is there a difference between giving up and surrendering, in your opinion? Or are they one and the same?
No, there's absolutely a difference. Because there's a difference between saying, I can't do this on my own anymore, and I can't do this anymore.
Can you elaborate on that for us?
Well, I can't do this anymore means I'm checked out completely. And I have no fight left in me, and I could care less whether I live or die. And I think there's plenty of us who have been there.
Have you?
Absolutely. Multiple times. I know you have too. So there's a difference, because surrendering says, you know what? I can't do this on my own. God, please give me the strength to go through this today, and please help me get through today. That's the difference. One, you're just checked out. The other, you want to keep moving. And you can't do it on your own. I tried. I tried for years to do it on my own. And my will turned it into the shit show I called my life. That's the truth.
I mean, how long do you think that, I'm going to answer the question, how long do you think you were quote unquote there? Like there, in that quote unquote show?
Probably age 12 or 13 until about 8 years ago.
That's a long time.
44 now.
That's a long time to be there in that quote unquote, I'll say, battle, right?
Yeah, like that's a fair assessment. An absolute battle between my will and his will, and good and evil for sure.
I mean, did you know God existed during that time? Had you been?
I did. I grew up in the church, and I grew up with a family. My grandfather's a deacon, and yeah, I grew up with all of that. But I didn't accept God into my life until, like I said, 7 or 8 years ago, maybe even a little bit before that. But it was because my will, I knew what was best for me. I knew how to handle my life best. As long as I had control of it, everything was going to be fine.
So here's a harder question for you. Maybe we talked about giving up versus surrendering.
Yep.
Even though you didn't like give up, you're still here, obviously. Yep. But like, what were you doing? How were you giving up in different parts of your life? Like, what were you doing? How did
my drinking was absolutely a huge part of it, because I didn't care. I didn't want to feel anything. If I didn't feel it, it wasn't real, and I didn't have to deal with it. So I'd bury it under booze. I've said it before. I've cried more times in the last probably 7 years of my life than I did in the first 40.
No emotion.
Yeah, none. I wasn't allowed to have emotion. I was void of emotion, and every time I had an emotion, I drank it away, because if I didn't, I had to deal with it, and I didn't want to do that.
So here's a question for you watching. What are you doing that signifies that you're giving up? Are you drinking? Are you going to drugs? Are you going on your couch? Are you just laying there, grabbing a big bowl of ice cream at 6 o'clock, shutting down, right? I mean, there's different ways to quote unquote give up.
There is. Mine is just the obvious one. Mine is the I'm checked out, do not care, F the world.
Yeah.
That's where mine was. And you can still do that in many different ways. I mean, look at yours. You checked out.
Yep.
Yours wasn't in that same manner.
No, it was all about me, and I can't believe I made this big mistake, and I this, and I that, and I blah,
So you remember that thing I was just talking about? My will, my control.
Yep, exactly.
Kind of the same story, right?
No different.
Different aspects, and that's the thing that brought us together too, and that's the thing that you guys need to realize is we're from very different worlds. There's no other way our worlds would have collided the way they had we both not been broken down to nothing and had to surrender something. That's facts.
And right, wrong, or the other, I think that mine was more self-inflicted. I think what happened to you
Mine was more environmental.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't as much, it was self-inflicted. It was more
But
inflicted upon you. Not that you
but
didn't have a decision to make. Yep.
my
Yep.
part in that is I made a lot of poor life choices because of my environmental decisions. That's the thing. And I have to take ownership for that.
Yes,
and,
I
and,
get
and
it.
that's the part that people need to realize. Just because my environment wasn't the greatest, it's not an excuse to be a crappy human being. It's not. It's just, it's what you use. It's what you say. It's looking for that bad story. You know, I saw something the other day on this, and I hate bringing this person up, but Shia LaBeouf was talking about how he blamed his dad and how he came from this horrible upbringing and all this stuff. And now that he's gotten clean and sober and straightened his life around, he's realized that his dad was absolutely amazing. His dad was always there for him. Just he didn't see it because he used that scenario and created that environment in his head. Because his dad was a biker guy and he wasn't always around, but his dad was always around for him. And he's realized that in his sobriety. You know, we have an ability to mask things, and we have this ability to talk ourselves into things being real, that thoughts are real. I'm an overthinker. It's something I'm very guilty of, which you know.
I thought you just called me an overthinker here in a couple videos ago. So
I admit I am too.
he is too. Okay.
I've just learned
All
how
right.
to manage it differently. I don't.
Yeah.
I let mine manifested in ways where I created scenarios in my head that weren't real because it excused my behavior. That's something I've learned about myself, and until I gave up my control, until I surrendered my will, that stuff wasn't changing.
Let's talk about the beauty in surrendering to our story. So,
The freedom,
keep going.
the freedom. That is the biggest one for me.
Well, expand on that.
The freedom. I don't have to chase the stories. I don't have to chase the lies. I don't have to worry about if I'm doing the next right thing because I know I am. The freedom in living a life of freeness, of no guilt, of not having to have this crazy bit of remorse about every little move I made. It's so freeing.
And the one thing that I've seen you do too, and you've had the attitude that it's your story for His glory. And whether your story is it's self-inflicted, where you made a really bad mistake, maybe you hurt somebody. You know, I'll just use one example. Maybe you cheated on your wife. You know, maybe you made a really big mistake at work. Maybe you embezzled something. If it's self-inflicted, you can still use your story for God's glory. The devil wants you to keep it here in a pile of shame where you're not using your story to advance His kingdom. And by the way, if you have a story where you've been more a product of your environment, where things just haven't gone the way you quote-unquote thought it should have, you know, maybe you were sexually abused as an example, which I can't imagine that. Josh, you talked about it earlier, but, you know, but you're even more like Jesus than anybody else if you kind of looked at what happened to Him. You know, was beaten beyond recognition. He hung on a cross, and look what His story did. Basically, it brought so many people to God and gave them eternal life. Your story, especially if you're a product of your environment, can be used to advance God's kingdom. That's where the beauty is.
Anything can. That's
right?
The beauty in it. Anything. If you're willing to look at it from a different perspective. That's it.
The hard thing. You have to get beyond that. And the Bible does say...
You have to get beyond the hurt.
Correct. And you know what? That takes time. That takes counseling. That takes fellowship. That takes... Go down the list of things,
For me,
right?
it took a day Cloris weekend.
Yeah, it took a men's weekend, to flip Josh and to get him to realize that, okay, I need to change. But, you know, one of the verses I love in the Bible is that we will overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. I brought this one up before. But what I love about that verse, it doesn't say, I will overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. It says, we will overcome by the blood of the Lamb. It means everybody that hears your story has the opportunity to overcome their struggles.
And that's a lot why we started this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly the reason we started this whole channel and this whole doing.
Yeah.
Is because for us, it's about getting it out there, showing people, look, my life hasn't been grand. It's been full of a bunch of garbage, but you know what? I still found my way back. I still found my way through it. You know, I have, and I didn't do that on my own. I didn't. I had help.
Yeah, and again, you're not supposed to do it by yourself. I mean, and again, sharing your story, it may be with one person, it may be with a group, it may be in front of an entire church. You can start small, but here's the thing. When you share your story and you're that vulnerable, I believe that there's a potential ripple effect there.
Always.
And
There's
how,
always a ripple effect.
right? Because a lot of other people will be willing to open up about their own stories. Because you know
Agreed.
what? Everybody has got a what?
Everybody's got a story.
Everybody's got a
Everybody does.
story.
And everybody's stories can be very different. They can be very much the same. You just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what people are going through.
And that's the beauty. That's the other part of the beauty of suffering and being on the other side of it is that if you, maybe there, I think there are times when God allows us to suffer. He doesn't cause it. He allows it because people have free will. It's one of the greatest gifts He gave us is free will. But I think He allows it so you can share your suffering with other people because you know what? Somebody might be going through the same thing you are.
Yep, agreed.
And they can relate.
And
to
that's
what you're
just
going
it.
through,
And maybe
right?
it's not your whole story. Maybe it's a piece of your story. Maybe it's a small part of your story. Nobody knows. You don't know what people are going through. And until you step outside yourself and start putting yourself out there, you don't know what you're capable of.
That's right. That's right. So again, if you got a story to share with somebody, go share it. Don't be afraid to share kind of what your struggles are. And it doesn't even have to be something that's grandiose.
No.
You know, right? It might be just something small you're dealing with one of your kids or something at work and do it without, you know, being throwing the gossip word in there. You know what I mean? Do it in an upright fashion about, hey, I'm dealing with this right now. What do you think about this? Or I hurt this person. I shouldn't have said that. Whatever it might be, go out and seek help and guidance and that might be the next step for somebody else to kind of overcome something.
Might be the next step for them to start healing. You don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, again, I'm Rob.
I'm Josh.
And we're here to help you find the beauty
in the darkness.
We're looking forward to hearing more from you. Again, if you got anything from this video, drop a comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you guys.